watching the rhyme, reading comics, toys are hella sick, hella whacking it, taking bad hits, taking bad shits, subscribe. So you got this in the Pepper Potts. Hey, what's up you guys? ShartimusPrime here, doing another Marvel Legends action figure review on the Netflix Man-Thing Build-A-Figure Waves Blade. If you're trying to pick this up, you can get it right now. Big. Get your big badass toys at BigBadToyStore.com. Click the link in the description below. So I mean, Blade's not from the Netflix show, but you know, it's the Netflix / Man-Thing Build-A-Figure Wave. Anyway, on the side we get an awesome image of Blade right over there, and on the very back you can see Blade once again in action figure form. There's a read-up over here. If you want to read it, pause it now. There's the other figures from the wave. We get that image of Blade once again, and then we get Blade's logo with the 3 stakes right there. I think that's kind of neat, huh? I don't know, that's pretty original. I dig that. Not too shabby. And there's not much more at the bottom, so let's get to it and crack this thing open. And here's Blade out of the packaging, and I have mixed feelings about this figure. Now, I don't know, it's not a bad figure, not my favorite figure from this wave. We have been waiting for a Marvel Legends Blade, comic version Blade, for quite some time now, so we finally have it. I'm very excited about that, but at the same time, there are disappointments with this figure as well. But, you know, as you can see right here, just looking at it, it doesn't really look too bad. But again, there are things that kind of frustrate me, so we'll get to that in a minute. But first, let's take a closer look at his accessory, and then we'll take a closer look at Blade. Now here's looking at the one katana, or the one sword that comes with Blade, and I wish he did come with 2, because there's a lot of versions of Blade that we see in the comics where he does have 2 swords, and in this one in particular, I've actually seen him with 2 swords on the back and everything, so we only get the one, but it looks pretty good. It's the same thing as, you know, the previous swords that we've seen. This is from the first Hasbro Deadpool figure, so you can see the sculpt and everything is very similar, but it is just a little bit different. So I'm not going to go ahead and pretend that I've been the biggest Blade fan for many years. I found out about Blade from the first Blade movie starring Wesley Snipes, which was awesome, and which really, in my mind, kick-started the whole Marvel movie experience. I mean, really, without that first Blade movie, and it did really well, and I liked Blade 2. Blade 3, not so much. But anyway, going on to this head sculpt, we get 2 head sculpts, and for me, I think this head sculpt is kind of the older look for Blade, the less contemporary of the 2 head sculpts. Mostly when I've seen this head sculpt, he's wearing like a trench coat or something like that. So to show off this really quick, I just want to show off the sides right over there. Now, we were supposed to get a Blade figure a long time ago. My biggest gripe with this figure is that he is not showing his teeth like that old Blade figure that we're supposedly going to get but never got from the Epic Heroes wave. So that's a bit unfortunate. Neither head sculpt has his teeth showing, and that bums me out. I feel like that's a missed opportunity, especially because we have the interchangeable heads. But anyway, looking on the top of the head right over there, not looking too bad for the most part. But to show off the other head sculpt, which I think suits the rest of the figure a lot more. And to briefly talk about the history of Blade really quick as well. He was the son of a prostitute, and while his mother was giving birth, Deacon Faust was feasting on her, and that released enzymes that somehow got into Eric Brooks's, aka Blade's, body, and that's how he's a quasi-vampire. So the way I've always understood it is that he has all the abilities of a vampire, but none of the weaknesses to go along with it, which is kind of cool. And he first appeared in Dracula, which, you know, totally makes sense. But looking at this other head sculpt, this does fit into more of the contemporary look of Blade that we've seen, especially where he has the 2 swords and everything. And I like this head sculpt as well. I think the hair just looks a little bit better on this, a little bit more unique to Blade, I think, and it matches the rest of the figure too. I do want to try putting a trench coat on this figure with the other head sculpt so you can have that different look going on. And looking at the rest of the figure, it looks really good. I like it. I think it's pretty accurate to the 2008 look of Blade. You get a little bit of blue right over here mixed in with the black. So it looks like it's just a very, very dark blue color over anything else. Then we have the wooden stakes right over here. These aren't, you know, removable or anything like that. Just the strap is right there. And that's not looking too bad on the back. We saw earlier. Kind of has this metallic sheen to it just a little bit right over here, which I like. And in this version of Blade, he does have these elbow pads, which he clearly doesn't have on this figure. So that's one aesthetic that I wish that they added to this, was, you know, making that more consistent. Because, yeah, the top half and the legs and everything look pretty good. I do like the flesh tone. Looks pretty nice. Get some nice gloves right over here. And then looking at the lower half of the figure, we have this very dark blue going on. And then he has these, you know, these silver spikes right over here, these silver stakes right on the side of his leg. And then I thought those should be wooden, no? I don't know. I can't. Somebody can explain that to me in the comments below. I'm sure somebody will. But here's looking at the boots. And yeah, we have these cuffs right over here, which I'll get into more later on because they do restrict a little bit of articulation. But he does have treads at the bottom of his feet, as well as some hole pegs right over there. And here's looking at the back of the figure. We get some blade butt, and there's the sheath and sword again. Now, before I get into that articulation, I do want to mention it is tricky getting this guy just standing vanilla like this. You know what I mean? It's kind of weird because you have to have the back crunched going backwards a little bit, so that's kind of strange. But anyway, you can move the head up quite a bit, so that's really good. I do like that. And you can move his head all the way down too. You do get side-to-side movement over here, and not much head wobblage, but there is a little bit right over there. Shoulders move all the way outward. You can move them all the way down, which is great. Do a 360 right over here without bumping into the sword. You get a bicep swivel, double jointed elbows. The wrists move side to side, and they both hinge up and down. You get a good ab crunch that moves forward, and it moves back. You get a waist swivel. Hip joints move outward that far, and he can kick forward quite a bit and not back at all. And this is a little frustrating because it's not just that he can't move his legs back at all, and this gets loose on me, I have to keep shifting that up, but it's not even straight down. It's like his leg is always a little bit forward, so that makes it hard for posing. So I wish, I don't know, they had some way to move the leg back a little bit. Anyway, you get an upper thigh swivel, double jointed knees, and he does have boot rotation right over here, and you can move the ankle down just a little bit and barely up at all, which really hinders posability. I wish they found out a way to like dug into this cuff right over here, but yeah, so that frustrates me some. And of course, he does have ankle pivot. Now to measure out this blade figure, you can see that he is standing right at 6.5 inches tall. And then for your Marvel Legends blade comparison, we have our comic book blade, and then we have our Wesley Snipes movie blade. If I could straighten the legs, getting, you know, a little bit more centered, I'm sure he would just be only a little bit taller than the comic blade, or maybe they would be the same height. If you wanted to do head swapping, you cannot. The neck and the head is all one piece right here on the Toy Biz figure. One thing I did want to do though was I wanted to take this head off and then pop this head on, then put on this Toy Biz Blades trench coat on this guy. And hey, that does not look too bad at all. Actually, you can make that work if you really wanted to. One drawback is that you do have to take away this little harness right here with the stakes and everything, but you do get the hole in the back of the trench coat, so if you wanted to, you could still just, you know, kind of lazily just put the sword right in there, and that way you could still have weapon storage for the guy. But yeah, it actually doesn't look too bad. And then for your vampire comparison, we have the Hasbro Marvel Legends Morbius, and then we have the Toy Biz Dracula. And you can see these two have the open mouths with the fangs showing, but not Blade. And then here's Blade next to the other figures from this wave that I've already reviewed. And then here's Blade next to Scourge. Now you can see that Scourge and Blade do have the same legs, but their belt, butt, and crotch is different, and that's what limits this articulation right here. So again, you can see that the Blade figure's leg won't move back at all, but on the Scourge figure, you can move it back some. So yeah, that's frustrating. They do have different butts. Yeah, butt comparison. And then here's Blade next to the Marvel Legends Big Time No Letdown Spider-Man. So I'm not gonna lie, man, this is one of those figures that really makes me feel like a sucker. Just because I'm disappointed in the figure in a lot of ways, but at the same time, I'm really excited to finally have a comic version of Blade in my collection. Like I said earlier, I'm not the biggest Blade fan, but it is one of those characters that I have been wanting to complete in my display, and I'm very glad to have him, but at the same time, I'm disappointed in the whole thing with the legs. I'm really disappointed that they didn't give us fangs on the figure, and I wish he had more weapons. So yeah, there's a lot of complaints. No, I don't think it's a great figure, but I'm very happy to have it at the same time. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please hit the like button. Go ahead and leave a comment down below. Let me know what you think of the review. Let me know what you think of the figure. If you have not subscribed yet, please go ahead and hit that subscribe button for more ShartimusPrime videos coming your way. And if you've already subscribed and you have not hit the notification bell, please do so that you can know immediately when the next ShartimusPrime video is posted. Gotta give a big thanks to all these people over here for supporting this YouTube channel. Thank you so much for keeping this dream alive. And if you want to see a photo gallery of images, it'll be over at marvelousnews.com. And you can stay in touch with me by following me on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Links in the description below. I'll catch you guys later. Peace. I'm gonna play with my toys today. I'm gonna play with my toys today. I'm gonna play with my toys today. I'm gonna play with my toys today.
That's crispy.
More shot in your face. I said more shot in your face. I said more shot in your face. I said more shot